current real estate in Canada, there are two part of the shares. One part is, hey, what is happening in Canada, what's happening in Alberta, or what's happening in the rest of Canada. Lots of fun, a lot of exciting parts of it. We're going to have a bunch of keynotes, a lot of speakers. We also have some special guest speaker or special friends, I can call it, rather the land developers or builders or other people. We might have some people from Western Canada, but they promise to be here, but we shall see. So those who are not aware of it, we have been networking since 2005 April. We never miss a meeting. Commitment is the name of the game, especially in the business of real estate. It's not something you can come and go and say, okay, this is a good thing to do or not a good thing to do. Just to let you know, those who have invested in Toronto, if you own a detached house in Toronto for the last 10 years, you become a millionaire by default. Is that good or is it totally good? Just simply by owning a piece of property in Toronto, a detached house, from 2014 to 2024, you become a millionaire. Wow. Welcome to Canada. How the millionaires are made, investing on the long-term basis. But there are some challenges. What are the challenges? Condo market in Toronto, especially 10,000 condos in the market for sale. It seems like all the buyers are disappearing and the speculators are busy trying to figure it out how about to do it. If you buy a typical condo for $850 with 20% down, the payment costs about $5,700 and it'll only rent for maybe about $3,200. You still have a negative cash flow. Is it a challenge? Yes. Toronto and Vancouver are the two cities in Canada which people used to say, and still they say, these cities are designed, especially the downtown Toronto, downtown Vancouver, is designed for young, single, wealthy Canadians. Young, single, wealthy Canadians. And now we have a lot of situation as we speak because of interest rate, inflation, and many, many other reasons. So this is a challenging time. Challenging time bring what? More opportunities. So there are a lot more opportunities as we are aware of it, but again, we cannot ignore all the facts, what exactly is happening to Toronto market. So here's some good news, bad news. The labor force saying, hey, average Canadian is earning about $35 an hour because there is some sort of increment recently compared to more or less last year. But again, this is what it is. That's what it is, though. Again, all these facts are more or less just to let you know, hey, where the economy is going. Now, let's talk about this thing. People are talking about not building enough houses. Now, look at the figures when we acquired from the city of Toronto, from City Plan Toronto. Now, what they're saying, they have built only 106,000 homes in GTA in last 4 years. And 260,000 approved, and there are another 436,000 are currently under review. That's a lot of inventory coming up soon. Even though we have a goal for 10 million homes to be reached by 2030 or 2032, look at the numbers that are the numbers already in the pipes. Some of you may gonna say, why Toronto? But there are a lot of stuff going on in Toronto area and Building 413, and we might have some sort of a time as well. And there are affordability is the name of the game. And there are a couple of things which are not helping the developers. The levies and development charges. People say developers pay for it. Not really. The end buyer pay for it. The builder going to pass it on. And that number is pretty staggering. It's pretty high. I'll share with you. What does it really cost? How much the builders make? Why there are so many small builders are losing their shirts? And it appeared to be builders have millions of expenses, millions of challenges. And nowadays, new stuff came up. I'm helping a project in Toronto where we got everything ready to go. and the city came back. And they want us to do a new survey, which is going to cost us another $25,000, $30,000. And now they are saying, hey, listen, have you noticed that the reports you have for the rain, the stormwater? Now that report is not good for you. We need a new report because from last 5 years, there's a lot more rain. So you need to store that water or create a pond, or we're going to charge you X amount of money. And that's the ridiculous amount of money they're asking for it. Now the whole project will be delayed by a year and a half. At least a year and a half. And now we go back to again on the queue, but we are negotiating with this city. And then there are other scenarios where they're supposed to provide us a certain type of hydro, and they're not going to bring it in. Oh, they want extra 1 million for it. It is approved. They're supposed to do it. Somehow, between the red tape, it happens here. So this is a typically Canadian market. I won't get too much into talking about the development charges. Here is something I want to share with you. 20 years ago in London, Ontario, you will be paying about $5,000 for development charges for single detached house. Now 2024, it is only multiplied by what? Almost 10 times. It costs almost $50,000, even in a smaller city called London, Ontario. But unfortunately, fact and the truth though. Condo sales are going down dramatically because I said earlier, and I showed you the first thing, affordability. I mean, it's not that many Canadians out there who can and who cannot though. So what's most expensive in Canada? You name it. Especially from real estate to gas price, to cell phones, internet, income taxes, double, triple taxes, groceries, car insurance, cars, and whatever you want to think of it, all the top 10, they're expensive. So what we do not learn, what skill we do not have, they don't teach us anything but financial education. We're going to get more into it. So speculation tax. Now they think that speculation tax is new. No, sir. Speculation tax was introduced in Canada in 1972. In 1974, this is something you will not forget. It's a history in the making. April 9th, 1974, Bill Davis is the premier of the province of Ontario. Overnight, he decided, okay, I'm going to have a 50% speculation tax. April 10th, market value dropped by 50%. Yike. First time. 1989, the government of Canada introduced the capital gain to 66%. Then 1990 to 2000, they kept the speculation tax or capital gain to 75%. Market went kaput. Market dropped by 40%. From 1990 to 2000, there was a word, investor. Are you crazy? Are you an investor? You're going to pay 75% tax on capital gains. Ladies and gentlemen, there are ways of getting it done. We went through that in 1993. When I started teaching, it's kind of funny that investors who came in were the shrewd investors. They're not like they're not just going to be okay. One day going to be an investor. No, they came in, took the proper education, and we were able to beat the capital gains fair and square. And that's the fun part of it. So those who are afraid of the word capital gains, now Freeland introduced this thing in the parliament, I believe on Monday. Today is Tuesday, and we will see how it goes. But again, they're coming after you one way or the other. And again, if you're a professional investor, you have proper education, knowledge, you might be able to handle that very nicely though. Delinquencies, oh my God. They are rising like crazy. I'm going to share some of the charts with you, the things we never heard before. And guess who's calling us more now? It's amazing. All of a sudden, we would have some sort of ad that if anybody is in trouble facing power of sale behind the mortgage payments, usually it's the homeowners who call us. Guess who's calling us now? The lenders. Lenders say, hey, Navtaaj, can you help us out? What's going on? Hey, listen, we have 30 properties behind. What can you do for me? And lender costs more money, timing, and we go in as a mediator and able to grab few deals, and some of the deals are sweetheart deals. Just imagine that you can buy a piece of property worth 25 million for 10 million or less than 10 million. Is that pretty reasonable? But again, the opportunities are there, but you got to know what exactly you're doing, why a lender is approaching you, why a B lender or private lender is approaching you. Can you please help me out? So if you have the knowledge and proper education, you might be able to make the best out of the situation, by the way. I just thought I'd just share with you. Now, this is the biggest concern. This is one of the biggest concern for next 3 years, 24, 25, 26. Those people who have to renew the mortgages, a lot of them you might have seen in the Globe and Mail, Toronto Star, Financial Post, the headliners. People are selling because they can't afford 2,000 or 3,000 monthly payment extra on top of what they can afford. They don't have money. They don't have resources. They may not have equity. So what are they doing? They're selling. So I'm going to share some of the stuff with you where property people are losing quite a dramatic amount of money simply because they did not plan ahead. They did not plan for the stress test of their own. But it's sad that a lot of Canadians are feeling what they're going through. It is not very pleasant, though. So here's a question today for all of you, and we're going to ask the experts. Should you buy a house now before the price is over again, or you're waiting for the interest rate to drop? So I'm going to start with my sister, Randy Goodman. Randy, what is your opinion on it?
Thank you, brother. I think, well, as a real estate broker, I think any time is a good time to buy. And the buy-in is when you're going to make your money as far as an investor goes. So if it depends what your goal is. If you're going to buy and hold or flip or develop or whatnot, you're going to make money over the long term. Go for it. I wouldn't keep waiting. If you find a great property and you want to jump in and start a project, go for it. Don't wait.
Excellent advice. Rolf? Rolf, are you there? Okay, I guess. Leonard?
Hello?
Hi, Leonard.
I think it's either better buy now if you can afford it, then later on when it goes up high, you can really either sell it or you can refinance and make a use of it.
So you're suggesting buy it now?
If you can afford it, yeah.
Excellent advice. Thank you. Rolf?
I'm going to go back to the comment you made a few years ago where you suggested that the best time to make a deal is buying fear and then selling greed. I think this is the best possible time that you could be looking at acquiring real estate at incredible prices, because once the market turns, the competition starts to bid up the values, and that's when you sell. So if there's anything to be learned from the past, it's you buy into this panic situation now, just wait for the smoke to clear, and for sure, the replacement costs of all these buildings and condos, in terms of what they're selling at today, is below replacement. So there's no possible way that you could get in at a better time. That's my opinion.
Excellent. Thank you. Jyoti?
Hi, Navtaj. Yeah, it's a very interesting question whether you should buy now or wait for interest rates to drop. It depends on every individual's financial situation and affordability. If that person, that individual is in a position to carry these high interest rates, then now is a good time to buy. But if he is hard pressed for money and penny pinching, then with the high interest rates, he may go belly up. So it all depends on the equation. But if he has the money, sure, he can buy now.
Excellent answer. David Grossman, I guess he's not here yet. And Sherry Hogahout, not here yet. Brett? Is Brett here yet? No, Brett is not here. All right, we're gonna move to the next one regardless. We wanted to have a little bit more opinion from other people, but again, that's what it is. That's what it is. So moving forward is talking about our capital gains. So what happened, how it happens, this is the history. Those who want to take a quick picture of this slide, please do so. Just for you to let you know that this is nothing new for investors. That does not scare us. This is how it works, and there are different strategies to do so. So one of the strategies we used to utilize is, again, depending upon, in this scenario, make sure your capital gain does not exceed more than 250, or you can add up your spouse or grown-up children over the age of 18 on the title, so that it can be spread even. If it happened to be your proprietorship, even it happened to be a corporation, again, check with your lawyer, check with your CPA. Simple strategy could save you thousands and thousands of dollars though. Capital gains started in 1972. Before that, there was no such thing as capital gains. Those who are around for a long time. Again, this thing, we have seen it and we know how to kind of manage it. On the other hand, there are some beautiful properties. One of the property, those who are from the Wild West or Western Canada, Blanca Street is only going up for 40 mil. One of a kind, these type of properties are usually never get sold. They're kept in forever. So are we still the king of the cranes? Yes, it is. Toronto still have a number of high cranes in Toronto, a lot more buildings in construction. A couple of the high profile buildings like One West, which is on Bruce Street West, is going through bankruptcy. It is up for sale for $1.2 billion. Anybody interested in doing that? Hey, 1.2 bill. This is not the first time this property is going under. This is not the last time. It is altogether 540 units. It is going to be one of the prime land. It's just the fact the costs are piling up comparatively to, when the product is ready. Just Rolf said something shockingly. The replacement cost, the cost of labor, the cost of material, the whole red tape, the timing, nothing gonna get cheaper, no matter which way you look at it. So now we're gonna also tonight talk about something where Province of Ontario introduced a new law. Or I'm sorry, maybe we are talking about two different things tonight. Two different things. One was about notice of security interest. And that is a very critical point where it goes on your title. A lot of people don't realize that. That's what I call daylight fraud, daylight scamming, or whatever. When people don't realize it, they are leasing a furnace, air conditioner, or water softener. Please, before you sign any piece of contract, check with your lawyer before you do so. Tonight, we're gonna have our first guest speaker, Jyoti Chaudhary, and I do believe we have two different topics for her, but I'm not sure which topic she's gonna talk about it. Jyoti Chaudhary is the attorney or the lawyer. She have degrees from India, from UK and Canada. So in case you happen to want to mitigate or have any particular question, she can answer almost every question for you. So Jyoti is all yours. What would you be talking tonight? I know we got two different topics tonight for you.
Yeah, I think I'll talk about the Superior Court order awarding damages for aborted sale of residential property.
Right.
So this was a recent decision of the Ontario Superior Court of Justice, which awarded the plaintiffs damages for the defendant's breach of a real estate agreement involving the aborted sale of the residence in Clarington, Ontario. Now, before I go forward, I would like to mention that this was at a time when prices were high and prices were going higher, and people were buying properties without any conditions, no condition, financing condition, no inspection condition. So this is during that time that this case took place. So I will just read out the ruling and the circumstances of the case, or rather the details of the case. In Phil versus Osugade, 2024, ONSC 3064, that's the number of the litigation file. The plaintiff listed the property for $799,900 and received 32 showings within 4 days. The defendants, Tolani Osugade and Marisa Bahadur, submitted an offer of $999,000. After removing the standard financing condition, they increased it to $1,035,000. The plaintiffs accepted this offer, forming a binding agreement. The agreement specified April 25, 2022 as the closing date. So if you remember, this was the time when prices were really high. However, that day, the plaintiff's lawyer received an email from the defendants requesting an extension until May 2nd due to a mortgage lender's requirement for an appraisal. The plaintiff's lawyer communicated that the agreement would be null and void unless the defendants accepted all proposed terms for the extension, which they did not. Consequently, the transaction did not close. The plaintiffs relisted the property for $799,900, the same price as the initial listing. After 17 showings, they sold the property for $850,000. Due to this delay, the plaintiffs incurred additional costs, including bridge financing for the new home. So you see, the market went down after the first offer, and they could not sell the property for $1,035,000. They sold it for $850,000, although they listed it for the same price. Now, obviously, the plaintiffs sued the defendants for the losses, and the plaintiffs argued that the defendants' breach entitled them to damages, particularly the difference between the original offer, $1,035,000, and the final sale price of $850,000 and other consequential costs. The defendants contended that the plaintiffs did not act in good faith by refusing to extend the closing date and failed to mitigate the damages by accepting a lower sale price. They argued that the plaintiffs' decisions were unreasonable and sought court intervention to rectify these perceived mistakes. The Supreme Court rejected the defendants' arguments, noting that no case law supports the obligation for vendors to extend the closing dates in standard agreements. The defendants chose to submit a clean offer without a financing condition and only communicated the need for mortgage financing on the closing date. The court found this approach unreasonable and ruled that the plaintiffs were within the rights to seek terms for the extension, which the defendants refused. Regarding mitigating damages, the court observed that the plaintiffs relisted the property at the same price and sold it for the highest offer received in the softened real estate market. The court noted that the defendants did not provide evidence to support the claim that the plaintiffs acted unreasonably. Ultimately, the court awarded the plaintiffs $159,915.26 in damages, reflecting the difference in sale prices and related costs minus the forfeited deposit of $25,000. So in this case, because the buyers or the defendants did not accept the extension terms, the transaction did not close and they were in default, and therefore the plaintiffs sued them for all the damages that they incurred, and the court awarded the plaintiffs damages, which reflected the difference in the sale prices and the related costs. And they, of course, minus the forfeited deposit of $25,000. So this is a big lesson for all purchasers or would-be purchasers to treat the agreement of purchase and sale as a binding contract. You cannot get out of the contract once you sign on the dotted line. And doesn't matter what the market conditions are, whether they're good or bad, the contract has to be completed, it has to be abided by. So, and every time the defendants are sued for damages, then they cannot make an argument that it depends on the appreciation or depreciation of property values. The court confirmed in Achilles that the court cannot simply take judicial notice of the rising or falling markets. And the other point is, every time there is a lawsuit for damages, they have to present evidence of mitigation. So always the need for evidence of mitigation is there. And the courts continue to emphasize the importance of mitigation when pursuing a claim for damages in an aborted real estate transaction. So know the challenges you face when you sign on the dotted line, when you want to buy property. Buying property is an essential part of life, and that is necessary, but always get consultation from a good lawyer if you are in doubt. Especially if you're buying from the builder, you need a lawyer to review the contract, and you have 10 days cooling period when you can have the lawyer review the contract. And you can get out of the contract if the lawyer says, no, it's not a good contract. So that is my take for today with this recent ruling of the Ontario Superior Court.
Okay,
Well-
let's look at the takeaway. Number one, breach of contract. Once you sign a dotted line, you are in, period. You can't get out. Cooling off period only apply to brand new properties, not the resale, 10 days. Number three, there's no excuse. Contract is a contract. Now, don't expect or don't assume. It's better to seek legal advice before, not after. Seeking legal advice before is much, much better. And number three is, this is going to be a nightmare for a lot of people who have bought properties being speculators. Now they can qualify on, they have some issues, the finances are not there, equity is not there. So there are thousands and thousands of people like that. And there's going to be a lot of cases like this going to go in the court. By doing that, builders are not having fun either. They don't want you to be in that scenario. I'm going to give you an example. Carlton Place, close to Ottawa, Ontario. The builder sold the townhouses for $900,000. People defaulted. He sold the same townhouse for $500,000. So guess what? Somebody got a bargain for $400,000 or less. Look in the media. So again, there are going to be losers and there are going to be a lot of winners. So choose your side clearly. The reason why we bring it up in the meeting for you to look at it, is it a good option? Should I be buying a piece of property at a discount? Especially from a builder. Because builder need to sell, they can't hold on for very long because they also have bill to pay. So thank you so much, Jyoti. Once again, Jyoti is one of the top-notch attorney or lawyer, real estate lawyer. Call her directly. Her cell phone is on right here. And Jyoti Chaudhary is the jclawcorp.com, located in Brampton on Main Street. Just to let you know, she is right in front of the mayor's office. No, mayor's residence, actually. The mayor of Brampton lives across the street from her. I just thought I should throw something at you. Thank you, Jyoti. Really appreciate your input, my friend. Thank you once again.
You're very welcome, and thank you for the nice words.
All right. So what's happening with foreclosures? Tons of them. Who's going through it? More or less medium-sized, large developers are really feeling the heat. Now, what is happening? A lot more debt. People are utilizing all the line of credits, and they're reaching to end. Now, what's gonna happen for next 3 years? Well, there's gonna be a lot of turmoil. There's gonna be something you have to see which side of the fence are you in. Are you one of the wealthiest Canadian, or are you one of those Canadians who are struggling? Those wealthiest Canadians have something in common. They understand the how the finances works. And again, they might be in trouble, but not as much as you think, though. So Toronto, the biggest problem with the real estate market, Toronto condos, but they're taken mostly by speculators. Now, they were happy to have a negative cash flow because the property was going up and they were building some sort of equity. Now the properties are not appreciating as much as they're supposed to be, or they did, till more or less March 2022. So there are a lot of condos in the market for sale where speculators are happy to lose tremendous amount of money. And if you are thinking to buy one, get owners financing. Ask them, hey, if you can hold on to the financing, that'll be good for you. So here is a scenario: how many Canadians have to renew their mortgages for next 3 years, even till 2027? It's quite a huge numbers. Right now in 2024, things really go to the peak in 2026. That is renewal time, which could be pretty difficult time. So what is happening in the market? We're going to have Randy Goodman to give us a bit of an idea, but just to let you know, we are on 10th day of June. The inventory of resale prices homes are going up like crazy. It should be declining everywhere. It's not only in Toronto, it's everywhere. Before I bring it in, I'd like to introduce you first and foremost, my sister, Randy Goodman. She is 11 times international best-selling author, a publisher, as well as one of the top-notch real estate broker in Canada. And she's going to enlighten us about what is happening in Toronto real estate or any kind of investment properties across Canada. Randy, it's all yours, my friend. Randy?
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Sorry, guys. You know, when you take an offer call, you got to take an offer call. I apologize.
All right. Negotiating the deal.
Yeah, you know, you just got to do it. So
Right.
I scooted him off the phone, and here we are. I saw my picture come up.
All
So
right.
I apologize.
Not worried.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here and to present for you, Navtaj, my brother from another mother.
All right.
Okay, so homeowners are anticipating an increase in demand as we have a year-over-year increase in new listings. With more choice compared to last year, buyers benefit from more negotiating room on prices. In the GTA area, over 7,000 home sales were recorded in May 2024. That's 21.7% down compared to almost 9,000 sales in May 2023. The 905s being hit the hardest. New listings amounted to 18,500, up by 21.1% year over year. The average selling price of 1.165 and change was down by 2.5% over May last year, which was at 1.195 million. Selling prices had adjusted to mitigate the impact of higher mortgage rates. Affordability is expected to improve further as borrowing costs trend lower. As demand picks up, because of the rate reduction on June 5th by 25 basis points, that's the first drop in about 4 years, we'll likely see more pressure to lower the price of homes as competition between buyers increases. Stay tuned. July 24 will be our next announcement. So why are so many condos and houses up for sale? Well, the increase in inventory can also be attributed to a combination of new housing developments and existing homeowners looking to capitalize on the favorable market conditions. Most properties up for sale are interest rate related. The interest rates are killing the investors, and they are not necessarily getting rental income to cover their monthly mortgage and maintenance costs. Another reason could be that some tenants are not paying or are unable to pay their rent, putting stress on the investors. Investor buyers are aware of rent control for buildings built prior to November 2018. They know which buildings are under rent control and which are not. Those not under rent control are selling faster. A buyer or investor will sway towards the condo that is not capped so they can maximize on their investment. A condo purchase in 2019 or later hasn't really gone up in price, so you wouldn't have built a lot of equity in the property over the last 5 years. You might be thinking to unload the investment, or you might want to hold on to it if the numbers still make sense to you. So what's the impact of the latest interest rate cut? Well, this may drive people to come back into the market with a positive outlook on the direction of where the interest rates might be going. This will be good news for investors, as well as their monthly mortgage rates will drop and make carrying a property more affordable. If you've been riding a variable rate or have a balance on a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, then you'll be happy with this news. Those with variable rate mortgages on a fixed payment schedule will see more of their monthly payment go towards their principal mortgage amount. And that's it for me, everybody.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Randy. Once again, Randy Goodman, randygoodman.com is site, and she's the top-notch broker. Anytime you're thinking about buying investment property, listing it, buying it, considering it, whatever it is, speak to her directly, please. 647-284-7601. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Now we're going to move forward with Bank of Canada interest rates. We finally got a one cut after 4 years. Most of you know it's 4.75 now. And for us to enlighten it, we are going to also talk about, before I think I'm going to bring David in first. I think David might have to go earlier. Please forgive me, but we're going to bring David in. David, are you already here, sir?
Yes, hi, I am here. Hi, Navtash.
Perfect.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So now the interest rates are gone down. So if you have $500,000 mortgage at a variable rate, you may gonna find a difference of about $101 per month. Are you able to see the screen, David?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
That's fine. So now David is gonna enlighten us what is happening with the current mortgage market. David Grossman is the gentleman who has been around for a long time. Rockyourmortgage.ca is the website. David, it's all yours, my friend.
Thanks very much. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. Spring is here. Summer is here. Beautiful evening here in Wasaga Beach. So yes, good news. Finally, homeowners and investors have been looking for rate relief, and they finally started to get some. Of course, there was the worries about inflation, and it's still inflation concerns that will cause rates probably to take some time. The target is to actually have rates come down by about 200 basis points, 2 full percentage points, to get them to where they're going to be considered in a neutral zone. But we don't know how long it will take for that to happen. And of course, it will depend on data as it comes out with respect to inflation. So as you noted, Navtash, quarter point reduction. If you have a variable rate mortgage where your payment moves with the rate as it changes, then yeah, you're going to see a rate reduction. I think it's about $13 per $100,000 of mortgage. Is that going to dramatically affect the market? No, but I think and hope that it will create some optimism that we've sort of turned the corner and that there are people, on the fence who have been thinking, looking, waiting, who might say, okay, because the trend now is going to be rates to go down. There have been times before when we were trending down and then there was a reversal, but I don't think that's going to be the case now. So that's the good news. Yeah, so Navtaj, we're talking about rates coming down and payments going down. Interesting stats that I saw today regarding negative amortizations, which we've talked about before. You've talked about many times before. And I saw this posted today. CIBC has $49.8 billion in mortgages that are currently on a negative amortization. So what a negative amortization occurs when you have a variable rate mortgage and the rate goes up, but the payment doesn't change. And that's how CIBC and TD and Bank of Montreal operate. That's how they structure their variable rate mortgages. So as a result of all the increases, they have billions and billions of dollars in negative amortizations. Guess how many dollars RBC and Scotia have in negative amortization? Navtaj, you want to take a guess?
Maybe close to 100 billion or so.
Zero.
Oh, I'm sorry, because they don't have the structure. Interesting.
That's right. Yeah, zero.
Interesting.
So RBC is a very, very competitive lender, and here they find themselves in pretty good shape with respect to. So homeowners need relief, and that's the pressure that's causing the rates to drop. And again, as I said, a target of 200 basis points. So and so fixed rates have started to come down as well. So if the overnight rate dropped from 5 to 4.75, and the prime rate dropped from, it was 7.2 to I think it's now 6.95. So you can get a variable rate at around 5.9 or 5.95 now, or you can get a fixed rate. A lot of people are opting for fixed rates. 5-year fixed rates are below 5% now. 3-year rates at close to 5%, 4-year rates. So those are good options. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines and waiting for things to turn, I think, especially with all the inventory that we're hearing about in the previous presentations by Randy and Navtaj, good opportunities, I'm sure, many of them. So time to get back into the market. You need to be pre-approved to make sure that you're in a strong position to buy. Give me a call, because that will help you negotiate if you know that you have a solid pre-approval.
All right, David, we also want to talk about a little bit tonight, if it depends on your time, but the new guidelines from CMHC for the multi-units, as well as the premiums are going up. I have prepared 2 slides or so. If you would be around, that'll be great. Otherwise, we may be able to discuss it in the next meeting.
Can we talk about it now, or you wanted to get to that later?
Are you able to see the screen though?
I can see a screen now.
Okay, hold on. Let me just show you. Let's talk quickly about it, then I can just show you which one they're talking about. Here it is. CMHC. The mortgage defaults are fine. This is the as of June 19th. There's certain changes in MLI select programs for the multifamily.
Yeah, so there's been some improvements. Probably I should do some further research. I know one of the things that has changed is that previously you were not allowed to take out equity and use it to repay investors, and I know that's changed. So there's some great programs on the table now. So it looks like they're improving even further. There was also a restriction whereby you needed to have institutional financing in place for some period of time before you could get CMHC insured. You couldn't go directly from a private mortgage to a CMHC insured mortgage. So I believe that's changing. But there's great opportunities for existing owners and builders, especially in this area, because the government is putting such a push to create more housing. So there's, when you have 5+ units, there are these 50-year amortizations and financing up to 95%. And especially if you can hit certain criteria with respect to affordability, energy efficiency, and also accessibility. You can, Jerry and I, he might be on the call, Jerry Hogenhout, were recently had a conference call. I think he was on the call. Well, anyway, we got introduced to somebody to look at efficiency. So we have just great opportunities there, where if you have an existing property, you can make certain changes to it and benefit from higher loan to values, better debt servicing ratios, and longer amortizations.
David, what we should do is do a little podcast for 30 minutes about MLI for
Sure.
multifamily properties next week, and then we will share with all our members.
That's a great idea. I'd be happy to do that.
Yes, it'll be a little bit more to go into the area and go into a little bit more in depth. Those people who are not aware of it, that there's a new opportunity for you. Instead of buying and investing in a single family home, why not invest, instead of putting $250,000 in a single family home, you might be able to buy a $10 million worth of multi-family apartment building. And again, there are certain areas, it takes 3 to 6 months to get approval. It's not for everybody, but there is a criteria, there's opportunity for all of you, those who are interested in investing into multifamilies, especially in Canada, because the opportunities are rising for next 10 years. There's a humongous shortage of rentals, and there are certain criteria you have to follow through. But apartment buildings or multifamilies are for those people who are pretty shrewd investors, not for beginners. I would not suggest you to do that, unless otherwise you have proper education, coaching, and mentoring. Might be a good time to get involved into it. David, thank you so much for your time and appreciate it. And I'll definitely speak to you next week then.
Thanks so much, Navtaj.
Take care, David. Now we're going to bring our little bit funny topic we discussed earlier, which is about the taxes. How much Canadian family pay a tax? $64,000 average family pay in Canada in tax. I'm not too sure when is the Freedom Day coming in month of June, but this is where all the work you have done so far in Canada, you did not take a penny home yet. Last year it was June 19th. Every single cent you earned in Canada working for somebody, you have 100% work for the tax man. Yike. Most of the people are not even aware of it. This is how much we pay taxes and what exactly are the tax situations are, how much taxes we pay, how much taxes we pay in Canada compared to US, comparatively very high. And one of the scary part is we pay more taxes than we spend all the money on our food, clothing, and of course our housing altogether. Truth, but painful truth though. But to get to know a bit better, and if you happen to know somebody who's not paying fair and share scale of the taxes, you are welcome to call the Canada Revenue Agency, and that's entirely up to you. So we're going to bring our next guest speaker. The gentleman's name is Jerry Hogenhout. He is the only Canadian, one and only one Canadian who are licensed in 5 different separate regulated investment marketplaces, including stocks, mutual funds, private equity, mortgages, insurance, and happen to be a CPA and also a fellow real estate investor. Jerry, are you there, my friend?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna turn your cameras on if you can. That'll be good. Or are you driving?
No, I'm stationary.
All right, okay, thank you. So Jerry Hogenhout is gonna be enlightening us about capital gains, what is happening right now. You're gonna be speaking for the next 5 to 7 minutes and giving us what to do, how to handle this new version of capital gain to 250,000, same old way, anything above 66%. And the new twist is this time they're gonna come after the corporations as well as the trust at the same time. So Jerry, it's all yours, my friend. You have to unmute yourself first.
Can you hear me now?
We got here loud and clear. Thank you, Jerry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thanks again, Nav, for inviting me tonight, and hello, everyone. So, yeah, so Nav just mentioned the Tax Freedom Day being June 19th. So we just had a capital gains increase on our budget, and the new Tax Freedom Day is December 31st. We are working all year long for CRA, and there's nothing left for us. That's the bad news. I'm joking. So anyway, yeah, no, it is ridiculous. Oh my God, where do I go start with this tax system of ours? Completely ridiculous, and it just got more ridiculous. They increased the capital gains rate, as you're probably all aware. On June 25th, it takes it kicks into effect. It's a big problem. Nobody's happy about it. And I just cringed when I watched our finance minister try to support it, defend it by saying, like, you know, we need to get a little bit more from those people that earn a lot of money. And I'm just thinking, why don't you guys just reduce your spending so you don't have to tax us to death? But anyway, they didn't listen to me. But anyway, it's a big problem. It's a real big problem for someone like me, because I'm a strong believer that in people's lives, we have to integrate your tax life with your investment life. And that doesn't happen in most people's lives. Most people use their accountant over there and their investment person over there, and those people don't talk. And even if you're happy with your accountant over there and happy with your investment person over there, there's a lot of things that are missing and aren't being done simply because the two people in your lives, the tax person and the investment person, do not talk and do not integrate their strategies. So in our world, we combine both. We do both. Very important to integrate the taxes and the investment part of your life. And when this capital gains introduction comes in, an increase, as we're all probably aware, from 50% to 2/3. When you integrate that with your tax and investment life, you know, we do a lot of estate planning, and you know, nobody's talking about this other than me. And this capital gains increase has a very, very significant impact on people's estates and how we plan around those estates. Because now, like all of us do, we're all real estate investors. No, we want to buy real estate. We want to buy anything else. We want to accumulate assets, and we want to accumulate those assets in order to give ourselves a financially free life. But we also want to do it for our loved ones. When we pass, we want our assets to go through our estate to our loved ones. Well, that just became more complicated and more expensive, and it's really sad when I look at these cottages. You know, we deal with so many tax clients, and we're trying to structure around their estate planning, and I do a lot of final death tax returns. So I'm the guy that has to figure out all the taxes when someone passes. And the real sad thing is that cottage, because for those of us that are lucky enough to have a cottage, that's where memories are made, and at the end of the day, that's all you got. So it's very important to build family memories. And when we see these cottages, especially the ones up in Muskoka that were bought many years ago for, very little compared to what they're worth. And when those cottages go through your estate, now we have to include 2/3 of the value of that cottage into the estate. It becomes just completely unaffordable for families to maintain those cottages. And that's really sad. We deal with that a lot. So when they increased the tax rates, it's one of the first things I thought about is geez, it just made our jobs even harder as far as trying to preserve those assets for when they go through the estate. But anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully they get booted out next election, and hopefully the Conservatives will renege on that. That would be nice. But as you probably are all aware, on June 25th, the inclusion rate for capital gains goes up to two-thirds. Now, that is not the tax rate. Okay, so if you bought something for $100,000 and sold it for $300,000, you have a $200,000 capital gain. And under the old rules, or the current rules up until June 25th, you'd have to include 50% of that. So if our capital gain was 200, we'd have to put 100,000 on our tax return. Now we'd have to do 200,000 times two-thirds, whatever that is. So instead of 100, it's 133,000 or something on our tax return. So our inclusion rate has gone up 17%. Okay, so if we are in 50% tax brackets, half of 17% is 9%. So the system, literally, for those people that are in 50% tax brackets, are taking almost 10% more tax off all of us that are, in higher tax brackets. So that's not very fair. Now, that two-thirds inclusion rate, if your asset is owned in a corporation, because in our world as accountants, we deal with the balance sheet of people's lives and the income statement. And that's really the way we look at a client. And that's the way people should really look at their financial lives. The balance sheet is really the assets and liabilities you have. And then the income statement is really the income and expenses. And that's really where we get taxed. So when we look at the balance sheet of your lives, that's where we see the assets. And if those assets are owned in a corporation, then the two-third capital gain inclusion rate starts immediately on June 25th from $1. If they're owned personally, then we do have up to the first 250,000 of capital gains, we get to use the old inclusion rate of 50%. Anything over that, we would have to include two-thirds of that capital gain. Now, what I've been getting asked an awful lot, and I was working on one today, when we have vendor take-backs. So we all know what those are. When we sell a property or buy a property, if we sell the property and we hold back money. So we made a $500,000 gain and held back $500,000. And so if we had a $500,000 gain, and if we held back $500,000 on a VTB, how does that impact everything? Okay, and the answer is, as per the income tax, there's kind of two components. One is what is really happening based on the actual vendor take back. When are you getting paid? How much are you getting each year? And then there's what's required under the Income Tax Act, which basically says we have to put a minimum of 20% every year. So if we had a $500,000 gain, 20% of that is $100,000. We have to put a minimum of $100,000 each year. So I'll try to kind of explain it in simpler terms. We have a $500,000 gain, and let's just say you're getting paid the whole amount in 3 years. So you get nothing in year one, nothing in year two. You get everything, a balloon payment at the end. So year one, you get nothing as far as the actual vendor take back, but the Income Tax Act says you have to bring in at least 20%. So we made $500,000, so we have to take in a minimum of $100,000. Yet we've got no money. So that inclusion rate for that year, based on the new rules, the first 250 would be 50% if it was personal. So we're okay. Next year, year two, we still don't receive any money. Well, the Income Tax Act says we have to include another minimum 20%. So there's another tax problem. And in year three, let's say we get the balloon payment. So we would have to take the entire $500,000 less what we've already claimed. Year one, we claimed 100. Year two, we claimed 100. So in year three, we would get all of the 500 grand, but we only have to claim 300 in capital gains. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but now this is not new, because they used to actually have 75%. Way back in the day, 1971 is when capital gains came in. It started out at 50% inclusion. Over the years, it increased back then to 67 and actually increased up to 75% inclusion rate. And then it went back down to 50%, and it stayed there for quite a while. And now we're once again increasing it to two-thirds of that as an inclusion rate. So anyway, it's pretty sad. I mean, we my God, to this country, up to 54% of our income in Ontario, we have to pay in taxes. Then we everything we consume after we pay those taxes, we have to pay 13% on everything we consume. Then we go to the gas station and get gas. Well, I don't have to tell you what happens there. So it's pretty bad, getting worse. All the more reason to strategize to lower your taxes. Those that know me know I'm a strong advocate to lower your taxes. Quit paying all those taxes. Do everything you can to minimize your taxes. Corporations, okay, there's a magic number in that corporation, 12%. That's the tax rate that we pay on active business income. In my world and with my clients, we really emphasize on that 12% and try to get as much of that income, if not all of it, taxed at 12%. And then that kind of gives you some sanity. And then when we talk about tax deadline day, we're not talking about June something, we're talking more March something, which is a little more reasonable. So it's good that Nav brought up the June 19th thing, because now it's even a little further, probably more towards the end of June, that we're working literally half a year for the government, which is just nuts. So, do everything you can to back that up, get that work for the government for 2 months of the year, January, February. Okay. The rest of the month, the rest of the year you work for yourself. So anyway, that's my input on the capital gains. There's nothing good about it. I don't like it. I hate it. My closing comments: do not vote Liberal ever again. Sorry.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here are the two takeaways. Regardless whether we have. First thing is tax planning ahead of the time, not the filing the tax. That's the biggest mistake Canadians make. They go and file taxes. Please plan ahead of the time. Get your CPA. Hey, can you help me out for the next 5 or 10 years? Can you do my tax planning? Second thing, what strategies can I just utilize, which are legal, moral, and ethical? People like Jerry Hogenhout will love to help you out and come up with the brand new strategies, which will definitely help you out to pay a lot less taxes legally, morally, and ethically. If you're going to go and file the tax return, too bad, so sad, all the damage is being done. Nothing can be planned. Again, get tax preparation far ahead of the time. Planning. Far ahead of the time. Second thing, planning is not cheap, but paying taxes is much more expensive. You pay a lot more taxes if you don't plan. Here's the sad part in Canada. Average Canadian will pay 200 different type of taxes every month. 200 different type of taxes. If you got blinders on, 80% of your income will be taken away from you in form of taxes. Welcome to Canada. And other countries like Hungary, the maximum tax is 15%. I don't think we're going to move down there yet. Regardless, just thought I'd just share with you. Thank you once again, Jerry. Really appreciate your input. Now we're going to get into some nitty-gritties about what is happening in Canadian real estate market, and then we're going to go into all the network stuff. So I'm going to share some good news and bad news, some ugly news, so whatever they come along, here they come. Here it is. Property lost about 27% face value. Where's the property located? In York University. What did they pay? 8-bedroom house with 7 washrooms. Whoa, what did they pay for? And what they got, they paid 1.4 million. They just recently got sold last month on May 24th for $1,050,000. That's a big loss. Beautiful house, 27% equity is gone, 28%. By the time you add up all the land transfer taxes and realtor fees and so on, you might be hitting close to 40%. Yike. So that's definitely it's a cash flowing property, by the way. I wonder why people need to sell, but that's what it is. This is what it is. How about in Castlemore, Brampton? People tried to sell it too many times. Couldn't sell it. Eventually they sold it. And again, you look at the property, about 3,500, 5,000 square feet, 3-car garage, legal basement, second dwelling, not good looking house, not a bad looking house. Again, sold for 1.8. They were trying to get for 2.6, not in this market. How about in Richmond Hill? Now, this is a typical scenario. We're gonna see a lot of them coming up for next 3 and 4 years. This piece of property worth 3.7 million. The guy has 2 mortgages, first and second, 2.7 million. $25,000 property taxes arrears, plus a lot of other arrears. And 3-story, 4,800 square feet, but let's say 49 or 5,000 square feet of a house, unfinished basement, not that old. And now they have writ of possession granted, and now the owner will be removed by the sheriff soon, but this property is on MLS for 3.7. Yike. Now that more or less give us a scenario that the 11 increases interest rate, inflation, it is a toll on Canadians. Now, if you look at this property, which is located in the University Avenue, the first one at York University, I think this is still a good deal for 1 million, hands down. I believe that will bring close to 8,000 to 10,000 a month of rent. It's fully rented. And there is always opportunity down there. There are a lot of students. These are university students. They are not college students. They're in for 4 years. And some of them come from smaller towns. And it is walking distance to the school. So it is a nice property. I do believe that it was what it is. That's what it is. So real estate market is running with what? Too much inventory. Inventory is going up. What's happening in the Kitchener-Waterloo, KWC? Whoa! The number of more properties are here more than last 2 years combined. If you combine the 2023 and 22 inventory all together for sale, now if you combine them together, right now we are sitting at that inventory 3,200 houses for sale. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Here is something which certain areas that are underbidding going on, starting from somewhere from 75,000 to 150,000. These are the areas I still believe are good areas to invest into it and look into it. Here are the areas where people are overbidding. Markham, number 1, 200,000, whatever the asking price is. East York, Richmond Hill, again, Markham, Cashier Park. Again, depending exactly where these properties are located, just be aware where a certain part of market is still hot, other areas which are not hot though. So here is good news for all of you. How many of you want to hear the good news? Some of you, how about $75,000 for free? Please create a secondary unit in your house all across Ontario. Ontario Renovate program can give you $75,000. Again, there are strings attached to it. It's not as free as you think, but again, it is workable. $75,000 grant, which can bring you about $3,000, $2,500 a month extra revenue for the rest of your life from your basement apartment. Not a bad idea. Please look into it. This is something, consider it is very valuable information. Here's another part of it. Recent survey done, there are 5 million rooms are sitting empty in Ontario alone. Now, people have extra room for the guests or sewing room or hobby room or studying room, whatever they don't call it. But on the other hand, there are 2 sides of the coin. One, some houses are overcrowded. Other one, the bedrooms are sitting vacant. Can it be a quick solution? Yes, there was introduction. They were asking the seniors if they have a spare bedroom to rent it out, the rooms out, and we would not have renter income problem. And we might have, it can ease off the rental market. It can drop the rents. But again, it did not go much further than I thought. I do know some people tried, but didn't work out that much though. Real estate in Vancouver, inventory is up by 20%. Yikes. But the prices are not that bad. Vancouver don't have much inventory, by the way. On the other hand, let's talk about CMHC. CMHC is also saying defaults are rising dramatically. I do believe they're going to continue to rise for 3 to 4 years. Regardless, affordability is the name of the game. We're going to be talking about those people who are investing in multi-families. You're going to be doing an hour, maybe a 45 minutes of podcast with Dave Grossman and bring you up to date what exactly is happening. You can get 55-year amortization. What can you do with energy efficiency? What can we utilize for affordable housing program? And if you are doing something for seniors or disabled Canadians, how this program can be very helpful for you. Again, this is the other part of it. There's a catch toward everything. Whenever they do something, they will get you on the other side. The premium are going up, which is 1.5%, which is fairly high number, by the way. Those who understand, who have been in the business for a while, understand 1.5 premium is pretty high numbers, though. Moving forward, a lot of big banks put all the money for default of mortgage payments. They're waiting, and it is happening. They are showing it with the negative amortization. People who thought they're going to pay off the house 25 years, they may be paying 50 years, even up to 90 years. Yike. Don't like the thought of it, but just thought I should share with you. $4.3 billion they put aside. Again, we discussed about it. This is a project. Rolf, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the screen, though?
Yeah, I'm just trying now.
Okay. So this
Yeah.
is one of the biggest one in Canada, those who are familiar with it. This is Toronto. This building is located 1 Bloor Street West. This building has approximately $1.4 billion of lender claims. And what it is it's going to go through a stalking horse bid. Some of you may not be aware of it. This is done through insolvency. Now, there are altogether 504 units. There are 60. It's going to be 85 stories. Now, they approved for 85. Now, they're going to go to 91, and they're going to be adding up another couple units. So they're going to be altogether 504 units. Are you aware of this project, Rolf?
Yes, actually, the investors, Mizrahi and Jenny Coco from Coco Paving, are the primary investors. And when they got in trouble the first time, our office actually, one of the agents in our office arranged with the Korean Exchange Bank of Canada.
Right.
The first mortgage of $550 million. And some supplementary financing for construction. And again, costs are out of control. Partnership dispute has put it back into receivership. So the latest story on that one is one of the owners of the ownership group is actually petitioning some foreign banks to take over the project and buy it from the receiver. So this is going to be the third time around, really.
Okay. Well, the deadline is July 30th. Those who are interested to know, I will inform you about the progress about this particular project. It's one of its kind, and more or less it reflects the Canadian economy, what has happened in the construction industry. People who think the builders are super wealthy, rich. They also have the cost, and this particular project have many different challenges time after time after time. But when this project is done, it'll be one of a kind in Canada. Just thought I should share with you that even they got approval for 85 stories, that they added up, 6 more stories, and added up altogether 504 units. But one of a kind type of a building. Just thought I should share with you. Thank you, Rolf. So, again, there's a company there are 2 companies in Canada. One is called Overborough, and other is called, I think, Lifty or something like that. They would lend you the part of the down payment in exchange for what? What do they want in exchange? They want the ownership. So if you are buying a piece of property, you have put 20% down, you bring only 5%, and they will give you 15%. and they will not make any payment. You don't have to make any payments to them. Whenever you sell, whatever the equity you have gained, plus all the appreciation, plus their original investment will go back. So they are like a co-ownership. So there are two companies, and by the way, CMHC, which is Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, have given them $5 million. So this is the new type of ownership we call fractional ownership, joint venture agreement, you can say, equity sharing. There are some new programs came in the market, and I'd like to bring another guest actually, which is doing something very similar to it, but has a different twist to it. If you guys are open to it, and let me know, we'll be more than happy to kind of bring you some creative ways of doing real estate. This is simply for principal residences only. This has been around for not too long, but Outboro will be speaking with them on July 20th or 21st in Mississauga, beside them in one of the events together. All right, just thought I should share with you. So, how many properties are going to go up in the market for sale? But for almost 500,000 properties going to go up in the market for sale. That could be go up or down. Again, these are all the projections that I thought I should share with you. This is the sad part, 372 Canadian families every day filing bankruptcies. Yike, doesn't like it, it's not a good idea. But again, under the circumstances, these are the numbers, one should be aware of it. So, when it comes to Ontario, we are not doing very well when it comes to income growth. We are at the rock bottom from last 20 years, from 22 to 21, what are the information we have available, but be aware of. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is a strategy, cash flow. Now, cash flow is the king when it comes to investing in real estate. So I got a question for you. Maybe you can ask the question to a few of you, and you're welcome to answer it, or we can discuss this thing in our break rooms or networking room. So if you have extra, let's say, $500,000 to invest, where would you invest? Would you buy a single family home, or would you buy a multifamily? What kind of cash you want to have? What are the benefits? Would you like to have multiple tenants? Would you invest multifamily or single family? Are you in for the long-term base or short-term basis? Again, all are variations depending upon what are your goals are. But now this cash flow is the name of the game, because the properties have gone so high, and typically single family homes, condos do not provide you the cash flow. So if you're looking for alternative, go multifamily. You only need 5% down. You're definitely going to have a possibly good cash flow. You have 50 years to pay off or 55 years to pay off the mortgage. You don't care about paying off the mortgages. You're more or less collecting the cash flow, appreciation, and of course, building equity though. And these are the numbers. I would like to ask Rolf to share something with you. He bought a building through our connections here. He paid in Sudbury. Rolf, you would like to share something about that particular property?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it was a 20-unit building, dilapidated. There were squatters there when we inherited it. The building required work, obviously. So we put together a projection, a cash flow for the budgeting the construction, budgeting carrying costs, other incidentals, and then projected out rents based on the newly renovated units. The building was bought for $325,000 or $330,000. I can't remember exactly. And we undertook to start construction. We found a private lender in that particular case. And the reason we went that route is because there was also some ground contamination from the gas station next door. But biofuels are relatively easy to, mitigate. but it still required, a phase 2 report, which involves drilling and checking water, et cetera. So we were parallel tracking the renovation and clearing the conditions for environmental. Eventually, we completed the building, and the total cost all in was just under 1.2 for all the renovations and the building, ready to lease. To our surprise, our projected rents were a little higher than what we projected, and ultimately, the appraisal on the building was just under 2 million at the time. And we were able to access a CMHC financing for roughly $1.6 million in first mortgage debt. And we amortized that debt at that particular time over 35 years and took out a 10-year mortgage at 2.86%. We're actually being offered 20-year money at like 3.1, 3.15, and we didn't take it. So we're about 4 years now into that financing. The building is currently valued at under $3 million. We're trying to sell it at this particular point, just for the strategy being, moving money to other assets just because of the insurmountable of defaults that are happening in the marketplace. There's just so many deals. But this investment represents a stable cash flow. But keep something in mind, there's management, there's managing aspects to it, including leasing, qualifying tenants, collecting rent, making sure repairs are up to snuff. And we're fortunate not to have any parking here because it's downtown, which is a plus because the building has roughly 90% coverage of the lot area, which means that snow removal is very minimal. Landscaping is non-existent. So there are some benefits, but obviously we have to turn away, tenants that need parking. But overall, it represents a steady cash flow in one of the asset classes today that are relatively safe.
Excellent, thank you. Well, this is a typically very good example when our students or apprentices buy the buildings. He's in the cost of 1.2 or 1.3 million altogether. It takes a lot of hard work in one way, or planning, or dedicating the proper duties to property manager, leasing manager, and these things are extremely important. But with given a choice, this is a very good strategy to look at. If you got $100,000 to invest, would you like to invest in a single family home, a townhouse, condo, or a multifamily, which will give you more cash? And are you up for it? Are you quite aware of it? Are you well educated? These are the things you have to be careful with. Now, here's some good news. Here's the really good news. So Toronto is allowing us to have some 6-story buildings that could be coming closer to you. And Rolf have done few of them altogether, many, many years. I think he might have already 2,500 units done already, a bit more. But this is typical scenario. So what exactly is happening? Where can we have mixed-story buildings? How the building is going to look like? This is a typical scenario. So this is a piece of property is, I believe, 60 units at close to St. Clair West subway station. I do believe it is on one road. I do believe it's not built yet, but this is maybe it is built, 60 units building. So it is going to be a tremendous amount of opportunities, especially those in Vancouver or Toronto, where you are buying a single family home or few or lots together, and make sure they more or less fall into the area. Getting a proper education, doing proper due diligence ahead of the time can really, this business is all about due diligence, proper education. Who do you know? What do you know? What you're going to be having? This is a money makers. These are the gold mines for next 10 years in Canada. Until we reach to 10 million homes or more, I think these buildings, which are rentals they're gonna be the incredible opportunity for us. Some sad news, Canadians are behind the credit card payments. This is not very good. Detached homes will be hitting 2 million. It's already happening already in Toronto. A lot of areas, and average houses is reaching to 2 million. Something about new development projects, what is happening, number of units ready to go. There will be 1.2 million. I'm talking about Greater Toronto Hamilton area. Greater Toronto Hamilton area, based upon the projections here, 1.2 million are in the pipes. And what does that mean? Tremendous amount of growth, tremendous amount of opportunities in construction, and also great opportunity for investors at the same time. The federal government are going to skip this one for the time being. Also going to skip this one, who's getting audit. I'm going to also skip this one too for a good reason. And this is something about number of vacant homes. Already 75,000 homes in Toronto are sitting vacant because they're up for sale or they're just got construction. This is the sad news. Power sales are increasing now. There are about 300 power sales on MLSE alone, in case you want to know. So let's go back about 28 years ago. In 2004, the house cost would be 200,000. That was the total cost of the house. In 2014, that was the interest cost of 200,000. In 2024, as we speak, the interest cost for 5 years is over 200,000. Look at the numbers. And 2034, just get ready for it. Start planning ahead of the time, by the way. You'll be shocked. Those who are renting it, if you are not renting it as a informed professional real estate investor, you might be renting a 1-bedroom for $2,500 where you can get $7,500. What's the difference? $60,000 answer. $60,000 answer. Here is something about Toronto for the last 50 years. Average house price has gone up, compounded by 7.5%. Facts speaks much louder. Couple of things you need to be aware of it. Anybody know this gentleman? He has been around for a very long time. He's 68, committed a couple of frauds, about 631,000. He took it out. Have fun. Again, Ponzi scheme. Be aware of it. Well, he is nothing compared to the next person. Greg Martel took $330 million from Vancouver. Ponzi scheme. Now, again, this is something you have to be careful with. Please check before you invest.ca from the Ontario Security Commission. And there's something else I like to say. Whistleblower for the Security Commission. If you happen to know somebody's doing it, you can get paid for it. Up to $5 million. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to weed out all those not good people or the system. So next thing, when I let you know, we have masterclass coming in. Those who want to know, just text us on this number. And now we're going to open up for that networking all together. So everybody will be put on hold for 60 seconds. Then we're going to all go into one room where you can ask any questions you have. We're going to have at least about 20 minutes of networking. You can talk to each other and make sure there's only one person talking at the same time. Please, no selling and no soliciting altogether. If you do, you'll be kicked out very quickly by our administrators very fast. So just bear with me. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask all the experts. And here we go. Where do we go? How do we go into the, sorry. Okay, sorry. I don't know how to go into, okay, here we go. Breakout rooms. Fine, thank you. All right, please turn your cameras on.